take off your clothes.
Hey guys, I'm Luke.
Mushroom.
This is Mushroom. Mushroom is my wife, and today we're going to talk about getting a green card through marriage in America. And before we start, make sure you subscribe. And check out my videos in the link in the description, if you haven't already. Okay, let's get started. So Mushroom is, you want to say where you're from?
Yeah, from China. I'm a Chinese citizen.
But we're not in China right now.
We're in America.
We're in America. But how can you be in America?
I got my green card.
Yeah, right. So Mushroom has her green card. And so a lot of people have asked me, and probably asked you, how do you do it? What did you do? What's it like? What's it like to go through the experience? So for those of you who are curious about it, we're just going to answer some questions about our experience of getting a green card through marriage. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got 8 questions. You ready? Just to be clear, we're not going to talk about every kind of way to get a green card. There are lots of different ways.
Yeah, we only talk about the marriage.
Yeah, exactly. All right, first question. Are you ready? Yeah. What are the benefits of having a green card? So what's the difference between a visa, a green card, and being a citizen? So the main differences probably would be if you have a tourist visa, you're a tourist. You can't do anything. You can't open a bank account. You can't work legally. What's the difference between having a green card and being a citizen?
I think probably the same, but you're not able to vote.
You can't vote,
yeah.
And you can't get a passport. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
No passport. You have your own passport, and you can't vote. But other than that, you pretty much have the same rights.
You have to no, there's another thing. You have to keep applying for the new green card.
Right. Okay, question number 2. What are the most difficult parts of the process of applying for a green card? I would say the most difficult things are, number 1, waiting. For the marriage one. Number 1, waiting. Number 2, probably all the paperwork. There's so much paperwork. People think that getting a marriage green card is easy. It's not. It's a lot of paperwork. And not just one time, but 5 different times. You do 100 things here, and then 6 months later, you do 100 more things.
The hardest part was the interview for me.
What did you do to get ready for it? How did you get ready?
I have to get in the line. I have to wait for so long outside.
How many questions did they ask you?
I think they asked me 5 questions.
Did they ask you really hard questions, or like what's your favorite kind of cake? What kind of questions?
Oh yeah, they asked me, are you able to use chopsticks? No. The first question I remember, what is the name of your husband's mom? They asked me, where do you want to live in the United States? Why do you want to move to the United States? And how many members in your husband's family?
It's a lot of personal questions.
Yeah.
You have to know enough about me.
Yeah.
So one of the questions later is, what happens in the interview? So I think we just answered that question.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You just answered that question. That's what happens. Question number 7. What happens in the interview? And then you go back to what Mushroom just said about the interview experience.
Yeah.
But that's probably the easiest part. You have to go to Guangzhou if you're in China. We got married in China, so we had to go to Guangzhou. And there's no debate. You can't negotiate. You go there on the date they give you. If you have other stuff going on, just cancel it. You can't do anything else. You have to go on that day. And then you wait in line, and you go into the interview. You have the interview. They ask you some questions about cake, and then you come out. And that's it. And then, but after you got that, you got a packet that you had to take to the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, they will give you the answer. If you pass the interview or you have to submit more document.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know immediately after the interview.
But they don't just say, oh, good job on the interview. Here's your green card. That would be...
No, that's not a green card. Just a answer and a piece of paper.
Right. So they approve you. They give you this packet. They don't give you your green card. Then, after you get that, you have to arrive in the United States within 90 days, right? Something like 90 days?
90 or 180, I don't remember exactly.
Something like that, maybe I can't remember. But so then you get to the United States, and then about a month after you arrived in the U.S., the green card arrived by mail. What are the costs involved in applying? So, okay, you have the first application fee. I think that's something like $1,000. And then there's another $400 fee that you have to pay. And then you have to pay for the medical exam. Remember the serious medical exam you had to take?
Oh,
that's $85. And then you have to pay for the green card itself. So there are several things, but everything together is, I don't remember exactly, but under $2,000. But most people will have a lawyer. So if you have a lawyer, then you have to pay your lawyer, and that may be double or maybe more, maybe $5,000-$6,000 totally.
Yeah, depends on the lawyer.
Yeah, depends. So yeah, what about the medical exam you had to do?
Oh, I remember there are not all the hospitals you can go, but they give you a certain option. I think the first one is in Beijing, which is really close to me, and the second one was in Guangdong province, and the third one was in Hong Kong or something.
So there's several, but it has to be a certified hospital. It has to be the right hospital that they can do the immigration medical exam.
Pretty formal, just a general body check. But I remember the first step for me process, I met a lady. And the lady asked when I just came into the office, and the lady asked me, take off your clothes. I said, include my everything?
Including
everything. And there were, yes, everything. And the lady was really rude. And then she said, have you ever done any surgery? Plastic surgery included? I said no. And then she asked me, do you have any tattoos? I told her yes. And then she measured it. And right on the paper.
She took out a ruler and measured your tattoo?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Vertical.
Then after you got this packet in the mail that said do not open until you get to the interview, something like that, right? Everything comes in the mail. That's one thing that a lot of people maybe don't realize is most of the process is done in the mail. So if you're in America or in China, it doesn't matter. You can do pretty much everything by mail. Can you do anything online? Not really, no. Most stuff has to happen by mail. Do I need to have an immigration lawyer? I think I can answer this one.
Yeah.
So a lot of people want to get a lawyer, but you don't have to have a lawyer. Lawyers are pretty expensive. We used a service called Rapid Visa, which I would kind of recommend. Their customer service is okay, but it worked and it went fine. They checked the documents. Basically, you pay them a fee. It's not as much as a lawyer. They look everything over. They make sure it's okay. They say, okay, this is all good. And then they send it to the immigration department in the government. So you don't have to get a lawyer, and that is a way you can save cost.
But some people want to have like immediate call or feel not very comfortable to apply by themselves. They probably will find a lawyer.
Well, that's kind of I don't know. Maybe
it's like a private.
So sometimes lawyers are slower.
Yes, it really depends on the lawyer.
But the one that we use, you can call 24/7.
Yeah, but you have to stay on the line all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're not able to talk to the same person every single time.
That's also true. That's another thing. So if you want to deal with only one person, then maybe a lawyer is better, probably. Do I need to get married in America? No.
You don't have to. But some of my friends, they got married in America.
So I have some friends who got married in China, and it doesn't matter. Do you know if it's faster if you get married in America?
It depends on the policy. For now, it's pretty slow. Before, like 2 years ago, before that, not that slow.
Yeah, so the reason we're not talking about all the steps in the process is because it's always changing. So if we said, oh, first you do this, and then you do this, and then you do that, then this video would be totally useless in a month or two. It always changes. Yeah. So we're kind of just talking about our experience doing it, going through the process. But the times depend on a lot of things. It depends on the country you're from. It depends on who's in the government. It depends on so many different things. So I've heard that if you're in America, it's a little faster. And if you're in, for example, China, it's a little slower. That's what I've heard. But ours was pretty normal. What are the waiting times involved? So I think it was from the time I submitted everything until you got the notice about your interview, that was about 10 months. And then there was maybe a month or two between the time that you got your interview date until the interview, right? And in the middle, then you had to do your medical exam. And then you got your green card, I think, a month and a half after we arrived in America, right?
I think we're...
So you hear that?
I remember. Do you remember that period of time we couldn't travel and I don't know.
We had to
how
confirm
that
our
got
interview
involved.
date, and we couldn't plan anything. We wanted to go
yeah.
on vacation. We couldn't plan anything. That's the other thing that's really not fun about it, is that you don't know when things are going to happen. So we wanted to go on vacation, but we didn't know when we should plan our vacation because we didn't know when exactly the interview date was going to be. So we had to wait to confirm the interview date and then plan our vacation.
So before we, I think before we did that, we've been waiting for 4 months.
Was it?
Got it. Yeah.
That seems a little bit long.
At that
sure
time, we were 4 months. I remember.
Really?
Yeah. That was 4 months.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was. I thought it was 2 months.
Because the previous email they were mentioned that just try to stay. We highly recommend don't
travel.
Go to another country or travel or something, because you may need to come back to have an interview in 5 days or something like that.
Yeah. Do you have any personal advice based on your experience? If I had known about the requirements about how long you need to be married before you get the 10-year green card, I would have said, let's wait a little bit longer, because the rule is if you get your green card after you've been married for 2 years, then it's automatically a 10-year green card. So because we got ours just inside of being married for 2 years, now after 2 years of having that green card, now you need to apply for a 10-year green card, which we just did actually. So once she gets her 10-year green card, then she'll have to, if she wants to do it again in 10 years, she'll have to apply for another 10-year green card. That's how it works. So that's one thing that I kind of realized, that if I were going to do it again, I might wait just a little bit longer and then start a little later, which would have been, I think, better, but whatever. I've heard people talk about, like, oh, maybe I'll just get a green card and get married and get a green card.
The fake marriage?
Yeah, fake marriage. So when I was 21, someone tried to give me $30,000 to marry them. To get
cash or card? Cash? Check?
They were going to pay me in tiny gold statues, 1 month at a time. And I said no. It's very illegal. So you go to jail for a long time if you get caught doing that.
How long?
I think it's 150 years. I think, yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. No, it's illegal. But also, one thing I realized going through this process is I cannot imagine trying to get a fake marriage. It would be terrible. Think about all the documents that you have to show to prove that it's real. It's not like you just show 2 pictures of yourself together at a park or something and that's proof. So many documents. So it would be almost impossible. I couldn't even imagine trying to do a fake marriage. So if you're thinking about that, find another way.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Also, I want to mention that because before I did some research about getting a green card after we got married, after we started.
Yeah.
So I saw many people wrote a blog, and they mentioned that, they will ask you some very private questions about your husband or your wife.
Yeah.
That's actually didn't happen to me at all.
They did. They asked you.
No,
You said they asked you about my mom's name.
That's not a private. I mean, when I was doing research, many people said, some Such as.
What's your husband's
favorite underwear color? What's the colors of your husband's underwear? And
well, you could make up any color because they don't know the color of my underwear. Like the interviewer said, no, I know your husband very well. His underwear are gray.
Yeah, so.
But what can they? I don't understand why that's a good question.
I don't know. I think they just want to make you feel nervous on purpose.
Yeah.
But I really don't know. But many people said the same. Many people wrote the blog like that. That's why I want to mention. So if you have a purpose to get a CR1 visa, which is marriage visa, so you can share this video and let them know what's the details and process.
Yeah. And if you were curious about the visa process, hopefully now some of your questions are answered. I know we didn't answer all your questions because it's a huge thing. There's so many different green card types. It's huge. And so we don't know everything. We just have our own experience. So do more research, but hopefully this video is at least useful, interesting. You can learn something about the process. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any other questions about this topic or any others, just let me know in the comments and see you next time.